Hi everyone, Darren Hunter here. In today's age, you can't just have boring photos on your property marketing listings. You've got to have a virtual walkthrough tour. That way, tenants can quickly qualify themselves and look through the property even at 2 in the morning online. But I can hear you say, look, Darren, it's too expensive with cameras and takes too long. That's why you've got to go to virtualtourscreator.com.au and check out how you can do walkthrough virtual tours using your mobile phone. Go and check it out. Also, talk to Tom there at virtualtourscreator.com.au on how you can quickly turn your tours into really cheap floor plans as well. Take care.
Hi, it's Dennis Yusuf here, and I've got Darren Hunter with me, and we are from IGT. And today, this is the BDM Coach podcast show. And Darren Hunter, we have got the honour of having you here once again for our amazing listeners. Darren, I'm getting fantastic feedback on the previous series that we've been doing, and you're here again.
It's been good. And, Dennis, for all these podcast shows, I've been helping you record them and doing all the background work and all the loading and all the writing and all that stuff. But really, I've been involved in probably the last half dozen, which has been great. And it's a bit obvious, but today we are going to be doing the 34 fees and fee package types that are charged over Australia, New Zealand, and the United States. In fact, Dennis, we've got too much content again. So will we be breaking this into two parts? The exciting thing is, Dennis, have you seen my diary for tomorrow morning? You'll actually see that I'm getting up at 3:30 a.m. to do a training session in the States, but then I'm booked to do a webinar with Shawvester at 7 a.m. where we're going to be going through the 34 fees and fee packages to the Americans. So it's a very popular topic, and it's stuff that a lot of people just don't know about. I mean, Dennis, what's it like for a BDM, say New South Wales, and I only work with 9 or 7 different fees, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the fees that I had. I mean, you've got, it's interesting because most of the time anyone talks about fee, they don't talk about the admin fee, the marketing fee. They're not talking about the end of financial year statement fee. Then you got your tribunal fee, and then you got your lease renewal fee. And then I'm going to say that's pretty well about it for most of New South Wales. Obviously I'm generalising here. That's about it. That's about it. What did I say? 6 or 7, maybe.
That's it. A lot of people don't know all these fees exist. So have a good listen here, and look, understand that you're also going to have a problem with what's called your big but. Because some of these fees you go, oh, but Darren, that won't work in my market because, or no, you need to understand that it is in most cases just an illusion. It's not actually true. And understand what's called the law of the better fee. And we went through the 7 fee laws, didn't we, Dennis?
Last time, yeah.
It's actually the last episode. And really the law of the better fee is if you actually believe any of these fees I'm telling you that you should be doing or you could be doing, you actually believe, yeah, and you think also you should be doing, well, you're halfway there. You actually believe that you should be doing it. And then if you know how to justify it, explain that fee in a reasonable way, should someone question you, then you're going to be able to get that fee. And so don't let your big butt get in the way. And Dennis, I do want to let everyone know, we are going to be putting this into 2 parts. Please understand, I've written all of these fees with full discussion, full description, and what agents are getting for them, the minimum and maximum amounts out of our new book, the PM Fee Script Secrets. Now, the news, everybody, the book is free. All you got to pay is for shipping. You need to get this book. It's the most comprehensive fee book that's ever been written. You want to call it the Fee Bible, whatever, but you need to get this book. Just go to stopdiscountingfees.com, and that will link you straight to the book. Just got to pay for shipping. So I'm really excited, Dennis. Before we get into this, just a few things over the 2 parts, everyone. We've actually divided the fee list into 6 parts. So part 1 is the management fees. Part 2 is the leasing fees. Part 3 is the marketing fees. And in episode 2, we're going to be covering inspection fees, and then other property management fees, miscellaneous stuff. And then we're going to get into the fee package type. So 6 categories we're going to cover over these 2 episodes. It's really important that you listen in. And these are we're just going to gloss over them because a lack of time, but they're all in detail, written over, I don't know, 30 pages or so in my new book, the PM Fee Script Secrets.com. So go to stopdiscountingfees.com to get your copy. Deniz, are you ready?
I'm ready, and I reckon I might be able to add one. Now, I'm interested to see. I've already.
I don't want to have to rewrite my book. I've only just published it. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. I'm going to be destroying all the thousands of books that I've written. Don't do that to my brain.
Your anxiety is going to kick. It's already kicked in. What do you mean to get out another one? Anyway, we'll see. I'm going to be really interested to see if we've got it in there. I've just sent it to you as a text, so I'm interested to know. All
right. Do it. Dare I look?
Don't look at you.
You're going to throw me here, Deniz. My brain is just going to go. Now, what text have I got? I haven't got any text from you.
It's in our group chat. It's in the group chat.
All right, what do we got?
It's in the workplace chat. We have many chats for everyone in there listening because, we have our business chat between Deniz, Michael and Darren. We have our text message chat because sometimes when we're traveling, there's no internet. We need to actually use proper text. But anyway.
All right, Deniz, when we get to the onboarding fee, we'll discuss that one, okay?
Okay.
So that's actually going to be in the second category of leasing, okay? So
perfect.
It is a type of onboarding fee, but we'll talk about that, all right? Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. Firstly, I want to say to our USA people, one, we love you. And two, I've probably got a list of about 100 different tenant fees that I could talk about as well. But here's the deal. In Australia and New Zealand, like the koala, like the platypus, or in New Zealand, like the kiwi bird, and like the tenant, they've all got one thing in common. And both our governments in Australia and New Zealand have listed all of those as protected species. So tongue in cheek about the tenant, we can't charge anything to a tenant other than rent. And if we have to calculate water expenses, well, we can actually ask the tenant for reimbursement, blah, 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 should there be water costs involved. But that's it. There's really nothing else except if they used to bounce a check, we could get a check bounce cost, and in some states there, someone breaks the lease and there's tenants changing or whatever, then there's possibly, but other than that, we can't charge any late fees if they're late in their rent. We can't charge any application fees. We can't charge anything that you just consider your bread and butter normal. So understand that we are fee experts, but we are experts in owner fees. Alrighty. So understand that's why I'm not going to talk about any tenant fees. It's funny, Deniz, I make a comment. In America, you've got a lot of right-wing states, states that just charge tenants like you wouldn't believe. Texas is one, Florida is another. But then you go to California, you go left, all right, to California. And California is very much a left-wing state. And there's a lot more restrictions around what you can actually charge tenants. If you go to states like Oregon, there's a restrictions there. You go to Washington State, which is just next to Oregon on the West Coast. There's the right wing and left wing legislators in that state. So I've even been in rent rolls, Deniz, and helping them and get better fees. And on one portion of the rent roll, we can charge tenants whatever. And in another portion of the rent roll, which is another part of the state, we've got to be so careful on what we charge tenants because of the change of legislation and attitude towards charging tenant fees. And I just make a laugh. In America, you go right, you go to Florida, a place like that, keep on going left, you get to California and keep on going left. You spin the globe, you're going to get to Australia and New Zealand. And when it comes to legislation, there is not much more left you can go.
No, so it stops with that. And it's interesting that WA, right? WA is
even more left.
Strictest.
Yep. And they are the strictest. And here's the point, everyone. Yeah, Australia has the most proportion of landlords managed by agents. And it's for good reason. Our legislation is so tough. Owners don't want to do it themselves. So, certainly for our friends in New Zealand and America, if your legislation starts getting tougher, don't complain, because it just means more self-managing landlords are going to give up. And that's what you want, right? So just become an expert in your legislation. If it gets tougher, become an expert with that and just roll with the punches, because it's going to help you in the end. Let's move on, Deniz. Let's get into this. So Okay, so I want to talk first about the different fee management types. Now, some of these fees, you just choose a different one. You can't implement all of these 34 fees and fee packages. It's just impossible. It might be like calling a square a circle. You'll see that, we're going to talk about 5 different management fee types, but you're only going to choose one. So, just keep that in mind. So let's talk about management fee types. And the first one, Deniz, is management fee as a percentage based on rent collected or gross rents. All righty. So that's probably the most vanilla way of doing things, isn't it, Deniz?
Yeah, totally.
It's on rent. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's the normal thing out there. And the only negative, that's the most traditional. That's the most accepted way. That's the most accepted way that if person's buying a rent roll, that's how they see the listings on that rent roll there. That's quite normal to them. That is bread and butter normal. The only negative I give to it is probably what Perth experienced way back in 2015 when the rents just went south really quickly and lost up to 20 to 25% rent reduction across the whole city. And if you had a percentage-based management fee, that's when it would suck. Yeah, and so a lot of agents there protect themselves, went to a fixed fee per month to protect against that. But normally rents are either stable or they're going up like they are at the moment. Certainly through Australia and New Zealand, rents are still going north. So in that case, the percentage based is the most popular. And the next one, Deniz, is similar, but it's the management fee and all monies collected. So it's a percentage, whether it's 8, 9, 10% or whatever, of all monies collected. So Deniz, what is all monies?
Well, that includes any water that you may be collecting on behalf of it could be even damage that the tenant has caused, so they're collecting that rent on their behalf. Or damage or any maintenance that they're, works. It's basically everything. It could even be potentially if they're paying strata or levies or water rates on behalf of the owner and that as well.
Potentially, but the attention here in fee number 2 from the book is all monies collected. So that's all water and any other monies that you're collecting on the landlord's behalf. So, and it's really easy when you say to owners, instead of saying we just charge 10% on all rents collected, it's 10% on all monies collected, or 8% on all monies collected, and that includes water. And there are other agencies I'm working with right now, Deniz, in New Zealand, to get better fees with. I mean, they just then include, and that includes our repairs as well. So though I'd love to see Australian agencies doing that, when I mention that sort of thing, either one, they want to hang me, or two, they say, but what's the management fee for? And, we'll talk about that a little bit later. So that's all monies collected. Okay, the next one is the fixed rate per month. So we're seeing agencies coming out where they say, okay, we're only going to charge $99 a month, and this is what we're going to do for it, or $129 a month, or $199 a month. And I've seen this charged very successfully with a gentleman we know at a rent roll in West Palm Beach. Deniz, he does it very well. He's very proud of it, though he knows is very well educated on property management fees across the country in the USA. I've seen other agencies, they're doing fixed fee. It's too low. When they want to increase it, they've got to get all their new management agreements signed. It's very difficult. So just read the book on the fixed fee and the pitfalls there that you want to navigate if you want to go that way. I understand it protects you against rents going south, should they do that, if ever. And it does give you predictability for sure, but it gives predictability to the owner as well. And that's a very good thing too. So, there are two schools of thought. Here's another thought for you, that if you go to sell a rent roll that's all on fixed fee, understand if anyone's buying it, if they're used to the bread and butter vanilla normal, which is percentage of rents collected or all monies collected, then they could get unnecessarily negative. If it causes confusion, it can mean a no. So just keep that sort of stuff in mind as well, about the mindsets of the people that may buy your rent roll one day. Now, the next one here, Deniz, is the all-inclusive management fee. How many agents have you seen do that?
Yeah, look, Darren, I must admit, when I first started training in 2013, it was more commonly spoken about back then. But today, I'm not seeing it as much. It's still popping up every now and then. You still do see it, but this is obviously just my own experience. I don't seem to be coming across it as much as I used to.
Yeah.
You know, it's still definitely out there, that
Yeah.
fixed fee for everything. I think, one of the downfalls in it is all these extra add-ons that have been coming in. Technology has advanced so much in the last couple of years. For example, like the virtual tour creator, where, there's virtual tours you can do for your properties. So many years, not that long ago, you couldn't do that. So if you're adding that, you're not getting any fixed fee. But a way around that is I'm seeing some agency have a fixed fee plus a marketing fees added, so to get around it. But I just don't seem to see it as much anymore, Darren.
Yeah. Now, I just was working with another agency in Tasmania today who were working on getting better fees in the market. And look, by the way, if you want to talk to me about getting better fees or implementing any one of these things or how to sign up new business with better fees, I will certainly help you. I've helped many agencies. It's what I do. Just go to getbetterfees.com. That's getbetterfees.com, and that'll book you straight into my diary. All right. That's actually connected to a Calendly link. You'll book straight in and you'll be able to spend a half an hour with me. Tell me what you've got in mind and I can tell you what's possible. And I'll even do a free fee analysis and give you a bit of an idea based on your 2, 3, 4, 500 properties. If it was rolled out over the whole lot, of course, we're experts in increasing fees of current clients as well. Please don't let your big butt get in the way on that one. Have a chat to me. Love to talk. Getbetterfees.com. All right, moving on. So the all-inclusive fee. So my comments around that, again, get the book. There's so much more detail there. Certainly talking about a couple of pitfalls that you need to be aware of. There are some pitfalls. I love it. Please understand, though, that for every week's worth of fees, so let's say the average rent is $400 and a letting fee is 1 week's rent. Well, that 1 week's rent of fee is around about 2%. So if you're charging a 2 weeks rent letting fee plus GST, just that 2 weeks alone is about 4%. Add up, if you've got a routine inspection fee, other fees, add that up. In a typical year, that could be an extra 6%. So if your management fee is 8% and the other fees all add up to in a typical year 6%, well, that's 14%. A lot of people don't actually realize what the numbers add up to. And so if you then say to an owner, look, based on this here in a typical year, you could actually be, with all these fees here, did you know they all convert to around about 16, 17%? But that's based on the proviso, Mr. Owner. That's one tenant. Well, sometimes we've had 2 tenants in here. Well, then you've got to add on another 4% for the leasing fee. Before you know it, we've gone over 20. But we do have an all-inclusive package that gives you simplicity. It's just one fee, no matter what, and predictability of budget. And so if you actually, your numbers show, Dennis, are at 16, 17%, you can go, well, Mr. Smith, based on this, we'll give you predictability at 14.5%. And if you explain it that way, show them how all your management fee plus other fees actually stack up to as a number and a percentage, you can show them that. Then you can, if you can give them something that represents a little bit less than that, but is predictability, suddenly you're now signing people up at a really quality all-inclusive fee. So Dennis, I've got clients in New Zealand that we're doing successfully 13.5%, 14.5%. I've worked in a rent roll where most of the clients that I signed up were at 16.5%, and I've even had clients in Western Australia doing 19.5%. Now, please don't get hung up on that number. It depends on your marketplace what your number is. But one of the biggest mistakes I see, Dennis, is people not just going too low with that number. They don't know the math. And therefore, they should have just stayed on the traditional fee structure because they're losing too much money on the all-inclusive.
Yeah, they haven't worked out their, the costs, the running costs of the business.
They actually haven't properly converted those fees into a percentage number to see what the actual percentages add up to. All righty. So if you want me to help you with that too, please book in getbetterfees.com. Be happy to explain how it works and give you some direction. I'm here to help you, get better fees, Dennis. Everyone we work with, everybody bar none that works with me, immediately we're able to find them an extra $500 to $1,000 per property from the new business that they sign up. Extra, 500 to 1,000 extra. So if you want that, getbetterfees.com. All right, moving on. The next, so that's number 4, Dennis, management fee, the all-inclusive. The next one, fee number 5, is a management fee all-inclusive, but the hybrid model. Hybrid. So
this is basically what I was just talking about.
Yeah, correct. So it's more of a refined model, and the issue that you have. So, for example, my agent in Adelaide and my 2 properties, he was a management fee plus all these other fees, and he was the most expensive agent in Adelaide. And please know, everyone, I went to him because of maximum trust, not because he had maximum fees. And how did he get maximum fees? Well, he's learned from me for many, 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 many years, and as they do. And and he signed me up on a 14.5% all-inclusive. Now, one thing, I was cool with that and I was happy with that, but every now in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I've had the tenant in there for 2 years, 3 years, but in that 14.5%, I'm still paying the letting fee or leasing fee every year, month in, month out, year in, year out, even with no movement. So in that case there, everybody, you may have a lesser of an all-inclusive, but charge the leasing fee and the marketing fee separately. So that's what I did in that rent roll where Dennis were doing 16.5%. We actually had, we were able to charge those other things separately as well. So, and that just seems to soothe that little minor annoyance factor around the leasing fee being involved in the all-inclusive. It just keeps it separate and just sweetens things just that little bit more. So
yeah, totally.
Everybody, please understand there are some pitfalls. Very quickly, do not sign anyone up less than 12 months fixed term, because if they leave after 4 months, you've done your dough. You may as well done a traditional fee package. And please understand the effect that it has on your rent roll multiplier. If you're serious about getting into the all-inclusive fee, you need to go and speak to a rent roll broker or a rent roll valuer and just get their opinion on it. Okay. All right. Next, Dennis. So that covers the 5 management fee types. So that's percentage-based, rent collected. Percentage-based, all money's collected. Number 3 is the fixed fee. The number 4 is all-inclusive. Number 5 is all-inclusive hybrid version, more refined version. Okay. All right. Next is the leasing fees. All right. So the 6 different leasing fees or lease renewal fees, we put lease renewals in here as well. So the leasing fee, Dennis, is the most common, and that covers the finding of a new tenant, doesn't it?
It does. When the leasing fees, the initial leasing fee, that's what you're talking about, the new tenant.
Yep. Just a couple of side comments here. I go to New South Wales, I go to Queensland, and very commonly, and New Zealand as well, everybody charges the same leasing fee as if legislation or regulation was in place. It's not. It's so locked in heavy on the mindset. Now, in New Zealand, many years ago, the tenant used to be able to be charged 1 week's leasing fee. The government stopped that. It then had to be passed on to the owner. But then as they all just charge the owner 1 week's leasing fee, I've never seen anyone go above that. And I will tackle that one day, Dennis. I reckon there's a whole one-day event just around how to get 2 weeks leasing fee. There is a one-day event just on that.
Yeah, all right. Totally agree. I was training an agency in Victoria, Darren, and they were charging 2 weeks was their standard letting fee plus GST.
Yep.
And they were charging 1 month for anyone wanting a casual let or let only.
Yep. That's good. And Victoria has a mixture of that 1 week's leasing fee and 2 weeks leasing fee, and it's mixed. New South Wales, everyone does boring 1 week's leasing fee. Queensland, everyone is boring 1 week's leasing fee. New Zealand, everyone is 1 week's leasing fee, boring. There's no legislation, there's no regulation. That's your mindset locking that in. And that's another story, another day. And, Dennis, I came across one agent in inner West Sydney who's now charging 2 weeks leasing fee, and she's just killing it. So, just know that if you believe you're worth it, and you know how to justify it, you'll get it. That's what's covered in the book. So go to stopdiscountingfees.com, get a copy of the book. Alrighty. So Dennis, that's a leasing fee. Now, one other comment before we go on, please don't disregard or discount the value of this fee, because How many hours, Dennis, does it take to lease a property?
Oh, well, I mean, we're talking about going out, taking the photos, organising the photographer, ensuring the property's in the right condition, and then we've got to add the ingoing or the condition report to that as well.
Yeah, let's get your pen out. We're going to write this down. I think we need to do a quick number on this. All right.
Yeah,
So
there's lots of
leasing. Now, you did BDM and leasing, so you understand what leasing is involved. So, how many trips would it take on average for, let's say, a city agent to show a property enough to actually lease it? Now, when I'm out there, it's usually 2 to 3 times. They say 2 to 3 times visits to the property. Now, how long does one visit take? So to get up off your chair in your office, grab your keys, get to the car, drive through traffic, get to the property. Hopefully the tenants turn up on time. They might bring their auntie, brother, 5 cousins, grandma, granddad, all for their opinion. Walk through the property, show them that, chit chat, give them the application form, explain it. See you later, get back to the car, drive back to the office. How long?
And the feedback.
How long?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's at least 45 minutes.
I'd say an hour.
Yeah,
you're thinking an hour.
Some people are driving even further.
Yeah, let's say an hour. So let's say you have to show the property 3 times. There's 3 hours.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Now let's say that you've got an application you want to work with. Well, that's let's just cut this short. Probably an hour of processing.
90 minutes is your average time on an application.
Okay, let's say it's an hour. All right, so write down, Dennis, there's 4 hours now. Okay, now let's say we've got an application. Now we've got to confirm it with the tenant on the phone. We've got to send them a letter or an email. We've got to call the owner, go through it. How long is that going to take?
Okay, so that's at least another 30 minutes.
30 minutes, yeah, right. 30 minutes. Correct. Okay. Now, we got the application approved. The tenant's aware. Now we've got to turn the application into a lease. So we've got to enter the system into the data into the system. We've got to create a lease. All righty. We've got to create a welcome pack if you're still doing that. How long is that going to take? Well,
I've got 5.5 hours all up so far.
All right. But how long would that process take?
At least an hour for all of the works, especially
put down 30 minutes. All right. 30 minutes.
Okay. So we're on 5 hours. Okay.
I want to be conservative here. I don't want people to accuse me of blowing things out of proportion or sensationalizing it. All right. So what number are we up to now?
5.
5 hours. Okay. So we got to do an ingoing inspection, Dennis. Now let's just disregard Western Australia, which are the kings of PCRs, property condition reports, ingoing inspections. By the way, everybody, go to the PM Power podcast show on Spotify or on iTunes podcast. One of our latest episodes there. I think it's about episode 34, 33. I forget the number, but it's on mastering ingoing inspection reports. Oh my goodness. So I've thoroughly enjoyed doing that with Louise Schofield, who is an operations manager from Jacksonville in New South Wales. Go and check that out, everyone. But look, with drive time, because we're always going to consider drive time, doing the inspection, doing the photos, the inspection itself is probably an hour and a half, let's just say. And other places will take 3, other places might take an hour. But
so let's say that's 2 hours, including drive time backwards and forwards.
Yeah. So add another 2 hours to that. All right. So now we've got to induct the tenant. Let's say we did it old school way. We've got to meet the tenant. We've got to go through. For me, it took me 45 minutes and then another 15 minutes of all the loose ends tied before the whole process was finished. That was an hour process for me. Okay. What number are we up to?
8 hours.
8 hours. So please, people, don't devalue your fee on the leasing. Now, I've seen this up to 12 hours, Dennis. It's up to 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours as well. So now, what are agents worth per hour? We've been through this, Dennis. I say, put up your hand. What do you think your services are worth per hour? Let's say you're going to go to tribunal. What's your company going to charge per hour? People put up, $60, $70, $80. Okay, here we go. So how much does a cleaner cost? About $50, $60. How much the gardener cost? About the same. Handyman, it's about $70. Plumber, it's $80 or $90. Electrician, about the same or a bit more. A geek to come and fix a computer, oh my goodness, they're about $150 to $200. Accountant, $300. A lawyer, oh my goodness, $500, $600 an hour for the company lawyer. So my point I make to them, okay, and I do the number, get them to do the numbers. And Dennis, no joke. I was in New Zealand. I did this, and I did the numbers on the amount of properties they had and how much though all those properties would be worth on the open sales market using the median sales price in that city. That rent roll was managing $1.3 billion of other people's assets.
Wow.
You are not to price yourself people the same per hour as a cleaner or the gardener or the lawnmower man or the electrician or whatever. So if you say you're worth $150, $200, $250 an hour, which is really where you should be heading, times that by 8, let's say 200 times by 8, that's $1,600. And I bet you're not charging $1,600 for your leasing fee. You're getting my point, everybody? So know your numbers and understand that your fee, you are worth your fee. And if you're only charging 1 week's rent, please just do the numbers there. You're way down. And you just need really good points of difference, mainly around they want the best rent, best tenant in the fastest possible time. Virtual tours is a great way to impress the owner, to show that you're worth more. And just go to virtualtourscreator.com.au. You speak to Tom there. What are some other, very quickly, points?
Darren, on what Virtual Tours and Inspection Manager have now combined, so you can do those works together within the same app. I'm not sure on the full logistics, but I'd certainly be looking at doing that. Your routine inspections, Darren, if I could just quickly add, like that 8 hours that we're basically working at, a lot of business owners might be sitting back thinking, oh, but that's why I'm paying the PM staff. Okay, so you're paying your property manager. Are you paying them 8 hours of work? Like when you calculate that 8 hours of work, how much you're paying them an hour, and they calculated what they're paying their staff per hour on doing a renewal, they're going to really quickly see that there's a lot of tasks within the business that they're not actually getting enough productivity out of the team. And it's not because of the team doing their work bad, it's because they're not actually charging enough money.
Correct.
Right? So,
Correct.
That's what they need to be looking at.
Most agencies don't charge enough when it comes to leasing in proportion to how many hours they do and what their hourly rate should be. Now, again, I'm happy to help you with these things and show you how to make an extra $500 to $1,000 per property extra per year. That's on top of what you're doing now. Just book into my diary, getbetterfees.com. I'm happy to spend some time with you over a Zoom appointment and happy to go through that with you. All right, Dennis. So that was a leasing fee. And we do have a couple of mistakes that people need to be aware of, and I'm not going to cover those in this podcast or in the actual book. The next fee, number 8, is the Dennis, we actually forgot one fee in the last category. Let me just go through that, the vacancy fee. So this is part of
the vacancy fee.
Number 6, I forgot number 6, the vacancy fee. So people very quickly, I don't really see this charge in Australia, but when the property's vacant, you're not earning anything, but you might still need to be checking on the property. It's still under your management umbrella. You're still responsible for it. The owner may not live in the area. So you still need to be getting, charging, for your work. This is where the vacancy fee comes in. And it could be, for example, a fixed rate of $99 a month or, $30 a week or something like that, fixed until the property's re-rented. So I do apologize, everyone. I forgot to put that in. Okay, that was number 6. Okay, let's get back into the leasing fees and fee number 8. All right, everyone, are you ready for this? This is a museum piece. This is a freak show. This is something I come across every now and again. It's getting less and less. Dennis, I've only ever seen this charged in not New Zealand. I've only ever seen this charged in the Northern Territory. And recently someone mentioned it in Tasmania. So it's a bit of a museum piece, maybe like the Tasmanian tiger. I don't know, but let's just look at this. So Dennis, the annual leasing fee. Do you know what that is?
The annual leasing fee.
Have you ever come across it before?
No. So it's an annual leasing fee. Is this one where if
it's like co-joined twins, you don't come across it too often, right?
Yeah.
But it's the annual leasing fee. I've just got to enlighten you. This is a museum piece. I don't, I'm not telling people to do this, but it's there. This is where you charge a leasing fee every year, year in, year out, regardless of turnover. So you might charge it every January. And in commonly, people charging 1 week's rent every January. So they weren't charging a leasing fee. They was charging this fee, one fee per year in, year out on all properties.
Okay.
And it's still being charged in Northern Territory and it's still being charged in Tasmania. Now, Dennis, here is another fee. You ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
This is a fee that if I said the name of this fee, everybody will say, what is that? And what's the leasing fee for? All righty. You ready for it? And everyone in New South Wales will not have a problem with it because it's just their bread and butter, vanilla normal. But everyone else is going to have a problem with this. And they're going to, the big but is going to say, but what's the leasing fee for? But our New South Wales people have proven, well, it's whatever you make of it. All righty. So, Dennis, the lease prep fee.
Yeah.
That's huge in New. Everyone charges at New South Wales. Nobody charges outside of New South Wales on the planet. What does it cover? When you're questioned, there's a BDM in New South Wales. What does it do? What does it cover? And so why is it charge part of the leasing fee?
Well, you used to be able to charge the tenant half the fee, right?
Yeah.
But then when the legislation changed, I'm going to say 2009, maybe 2010, my script then changed to the owners having to pay for that full amount.
Yep.
And, off memory, it was $35. So it was, it was $14.50 went to the owner, $14.50 to the tenant. When the legislation changed, said, Mr. and Ms. Smith, we used to charge half to the tenant, but now it's all been charged to you. And they'd go, oh, okay. And that was just the cost of the actual basic lease.
Yeah, that's it. And it's like New Zealand. It used to be charged to the tenant. Legislation changed. You can't. They simply then, well, I don't want to give up this fee. I'll charge it to the owner. It's never changed. And it's a mindset thing because everyone outside of New South Wales right saying, but what's the leasing fee for? It's whatever you say it's for or what it's not for. That's just your big butt speaking, But Darren, everyone understand the power of the big but. Congratulations, New South Wales. The agents I've worked with, I've seen one agent, Dennis, charging over $100 for that fee. But mostly I take people to the $50, $60, maybe $70, depending. But commonly it's charged at $25, $30, $35, that sort of thing. So it's a good fee to get. All right, next is the tenancy database check fee. Dennis, what's that for?
The tenancy database check fee. Well, that's basically when I'm presuming
Dennis, don't answer wrong fee.
The tenancy database check fee. So, I've got two that I'm thinking of. One when you're doing a background check on them, or is the other one when you're it's paying for the cost of you running the database that manages the tenants.
Very quickly, tenancy databases aren't free. They do charge a fee. You need to be on charging that fee. Look, I've always said, particularly in Australia, legislators or the regulators around each state generally don't like to see agents charging anything more than cost. So, in Western Australia, you start charging more than cost and your regulator finds out, we'll probably want to prosecute you and take you through court, very expensive process. In other states, it might just be a simple slap on the wrist. In other states, there probably is no slap on the wrist, but it is generally seen as just on charging that fee and that direct cost of what the tenancy databases, the default tenancy databases. For our USA people, please understand, again, I told you at the start of this program, the tenants are treated as a protected species. USA people in Australia, we cannot do any credit checks on a tenant. That was stopped in October 1989 when the Privacy Act first was legislated. And I always remember the days, Dennis, 1 week I was able to check credit checks and the next week I stopped. And so that was right back in my first year in property management in 1989. So interesting fee there. So let's go on to number 11. And this is something that I see so many agents not charging enough for, the lease renewal fee. Now, when I started doing work in Perth about 2007, 2008, and nearly all the agents there were charging 55, 66, 77, including GST, 10% GST. And And I'd say, well, why are you charging me this fee? Isn't it just signing a bit of, oh, well, we have to make a few phone calls to the tenant, a few phone calls to the owner, we've got to type up, and really using that way to justify that fee. Oh my goodness me, you're probably only about to get $40, $50, $60 for a little bit of admin work, but we don't justify the fee that way, everybody. We need to implement what's called the law of alternate cost. We cover that in the book. Law of alternate cost simply is that if you didn't provide, for example, the lease renewal service any longer, the tenant just rolled onto a non-fixed. Well, what would that non-fixed lease in the end cost the owner? Well, it was a quiet period, Dennis, and there's not much demand going on with tenants. The property could be vacant 6 weeks. If the rent is $500 a week, well, now, Dennis, how much is that?
Oh,
$3,000.
that's right.
$3,000. All right. So, and then to release the property again, the owner has to fund that because we can't get it from the tenant. Let's say it's another week's rent. That's $500. We're up to $3,500.
Yep.
And what about a marketing fee? Let's say that's another $300. Well, that's $5,000. That's $3,500, $3,800. So if the alternate cost in that case of allowing a tenant to easily just roll onto a non-fixed is $3,800, and your fee is half a week's rent at $250, the $250 put in light of that ugly alternate cost of $3,800 is now seen to be a bargain, and you'd want to pay that fee all day, every day, because it's like an insurance policy.
No issue anymore, is there?
But if you say, well, Mr. Smith, my lease renewal fee is $250, and all he thinks you do is sign a bit of paper, well, you're going to find it hard to justify that fee because you failed to put it in light of the alternate cost. All righty. So everyone understand that the lease renewal is such a powerful thing. And then, Dennis, I get, but our legislation says that we can't force tenants now to sign a lease renewal. And that's New South Wales. That's Victoria. I'm pretty not sure about Queensland. I think in New Zealand. But at the end of the day, you still got agents signing up lease renewals and convincing the tenant, hey, you want to be on a fixed term because if the property's put on the market or the owner wants to move back in or his daughter wants to move back in, they can't because the lease protects you. They sell it to the tenant and they still get a lot of tenants opting to go onto the fixed term. Guys, if you get your fixed term lease renewal in place, particularly when legislation is against you, you are worth your fee. That is your reward to protect the tenant. My last comment before moving on, Dennis, particularly when agents have a quality landlord insurance policy, if the tenant defaults during a fixed lease renewal, then there's a lot more that they can claim back than if the tenant had simply fallen onto a periodic monthly lease or anything like that. All righty. So there is so much benefit of a lease renewal. I get it. Some states' legislation sucks. I know even New South Wales, Dennis, the new legislation there, restricts the agents altogether on how much they can actually claim even under break lease situations. But failing that, Dennis, I know so many agents in New South Wales and Sydney that are earning thousands and thousands and even up to $10,000 in a month from their lease renewal fee. So people, please, even under difficult legislation, you still can earn and you're earning a lot of money. It's your mindset that says whether you can or not, okay? Please understand it's your mindset that determines what you see to be true and what you don't believe is possible. How are we going there, Dennis?
Yeah, doing very well. I mean,
not feeling neglected?
Not at all, mate. I'm just sitting back, just having a listen and taking it in. It's actually giving me some extra insights into the next few training sessions that I've got. So it's good.
All right. Next fee. Now, fee number 12, the new tenancy onboarding fee. So this is, and for our experienced property managers out there, you're already going, I need to implement that because it is what it is. And then an owner comes along, tenant's already in place. He wants you to manage it. Now you've got to onboard that new tenancy. Okay, you may not be doing a full ingoing inspection, but there's still a hell of a lot of other work to be done. And then in a lot of cases, agents aren't charging a leasing fee for that because it's not a brand new tenant with the full process, right? So, so in this case, this is what the new tenancy onboarding fee is for. And we've got the range charging in the book, what agents are charging, and there's a minimum and there's a maximum that I've seen, so you can see the guide there. But Dennis, tell me about your fee.
My standard fee, is that what you're talking about?
You text me a fee. You told me this fee.
Oh, okay. So basically, that one there.
Handover fee. You told me a handover
so,
fee. What is
so
that?
basically, it's a handover fee if there's already a tenant in place, right? So you can have a fee. Let's say you're an owner, you've come across to me, you've already got a tenant in place. Now, even if there's no issues at hand with the tenant, you maybe just, you know what, I'm sick and tired of that agency, I'm changing, right? So there's still a lot of work that's involved. You've still got to reintroduce yourself to the tenant, send them letters, have a meeting with them on the bank details, the new processes and systems that are in place changes, whether you've got different routine inspection apps that are being used.
Yeah, so that's the new tenancy onboarding fee.
Yeah, right. But then you've got to go to the property. You may have to do a appraisal. Then you're giving notes and feedback on that as well. So it's basically that whole process of work.
It's a handover. But then what I'm alluding to here is that though what you call the handover fee, I call the new tenancy onboarding fee. It's the same thing, right? But the other thing is what about the opposite? What if you've got a tenant in place that you put there and the owner transfers it back to himself as a self-managing landlord?
Mm-hmm.
So we're exiting the tenancy off the rent roll, alrighty, or it's handed to another agent because of whatever. You might have called, you suck. That's a lot of work. I'm losing fee, or you might politely call it as a handover fee. It's whatever you call it. But Dennis, I think that is a fee that in my next edition, I'll write in there. So, congratulations. I thought I was doing pretty good with the 34. Now it's 35.
Well, I've got to give this feedback to somebody else, Darren. This was actually only just brought up in the last group grow training that I was doing. I had agents from all over Australia and in this coaching program, and one in New Zealand as well. And we were talking about the fee. The fee discussion had come up. It wasn't part of the training. Our training was something else, but it came up, and Janine actually said, well, this is what I charge and this is why. And I went, that's brilliant. I wonder if Darren's got that one. Because I was actually talking about taking over private owners, and it's really important that you have a fee in place, right? So you might have a minimum fee in place if the tenant's not collecting. They may not be paying rent when you're doing a takeover, and they may vacate, and you've done all this work, got the tenant out, and you haven't collected any income until you get that first let, which could be 6 weeks later or more in some cases by the time you get the tenant out. So you need to have a minimum fee charge in place just for those takeovers as well. And that's when Janine said, that's easy, I do this. And I went, oh, okay, that's good.
And I like to say for everyone out there, if you do end up taking on an inherited tenancy where the rent is really bad and you have to go and collect the rent or whatever, don't be scared to charge a double or triple management fee to sort out the situation until rent payments are on track. It's a crap load of work, people. Please don't put a whip on your back. Don't be scared to ask for a double or triple management fee until it's straightened out or until the tenant's evicted or whatever, because you're worth it. You don't have, it's so many times, and I even advise some people don't even take those tenancies on. It's just, life's so much more precious, and, just doing all of that work is simply for growth. All right, let's move on. Okay, so let's get into the 4 different property marketing fees, Dennis. All righty. So, all right, the general marketing fee, just the marketing fee. What's that for? Why? And Dennis, why shouldn't that be covered in the leasing fee?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we've already spoken about the leasing fees, part of the ingoing, et cetera, right? But your marketing fee is, us actually marketing the property for you. So whether we have a photographer going out, we've got our videography, we've got to upload it to the internet and YouTube, we've got to, whether we're splashing it over the all of the other social medias, etc. You've got your virtual tours, you've got your premier advertising on realestate.com.au. You've got different types of advertising that you can do on realestate.com.au. There's a whole combination of things that your advertising fee covers.
I agree.
There's different levels. There's different levels that you can be charging too.
Yeah. No, I agree. And these fees range, from Queensland. Some a lot of agents in Queensland still not charging any marketing fee. And I just say, well, okay, fair enough. But is realestate.com.au not charging you anymore? Are you getting a free? No. Well, it's costing you the earth. And you're still not charging a fee. Oh, we don't want to or whatever. And then you go right down to Victoria, right at the other extreme, they charge the best marketing fees in Australia. So again, if you think, if you feel that, hey, I'd like to see what fees I could be or should be charging in my marketplace, in my city or whatever, please book into my diary, getbetterfees.com. I'd love to have a chat to you. Deniz, I think before we move on with this, we've got 2 clubs that we are creating inside the membership, right? So Deniz, we're looking at we're going to be putting together PM Growth Experts Club and the BDM Coach Club as well. So the PM Growth Experts Club is going to be for solopreneurs, business owners that are focused on property management, or managers that are really driving the business. We'll be covering a lot of strategies there, but the BDM Coach Club, of course, is going to be for BDMs as well. But Deniz, we've never done group coaching within membership, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, look, it's another add-on that we continue to keep adding on. Like the last thing we added on is us writing newsletters for our clients. So now we're adding a component of coaching there as well. It's just, the more and more that we do training, the more and more that we see that people are actually seeking more and more help. Because there's so many different things that property managers have got to do, and anyone in real estate, and all these little add-ons. So we've got to continue to evolve as well. So this extra little bit of a component, the coaching component being added to it, it's a bonus.
Yeah. And it's a little bit like now, the membership, it is $297 a month. That's for the whole team access and on any device. So, and we've got over 300 hours of all of our strategies, all of our fee teaching, Deniz, all of your best rent roll growth teaching, strategies, scripts, techniques, that you can grow thousands of properties. But Deniz, what we've found over the years, it's very much giving someone a gym membership, but then still not getting out of bed, not logging in and doing the training, even though you have access to millions of dollars of new business. They still won't get out of bed because they're too busy to log in. But Deniz, if you now know that you've got a membership and you've got a coach that you've committed to waiting for you at that gym, you're going to get out of bed and you're going to get there. And that's what the BDM Coach Club and the PM Growth Experts Club is all about. We're adding that component of coaching into the membership as well, all for $297 per month for your whole team. It's not per person. So before we move on, just go to igtmembership.com. That's igtmembership.com. Get your membership. It's really cheap, and you're going to get access to our full suite of training. There's over 300 hours there, and you get 20% off at our events, our conference, our seminars, all of those sort of things as well. Deniz, I don't want to feel I have to.
No, I've got to add one more component, mate. There's one more living thing that you forgot. What about the live recordings that we do when we're doing the sessions? I mean, I did a training session where I trained 3 of the top BDMs in Australia, and the feedback I'm getting from our live, the people that watched it live was great. They love the interaction. They love being able to ask questions during it as well. So it's been phenomenal.
There's one more.
There's another thing, and there's more.
We're on call.
Call a coach.
Call a coach. Call a coach. It's like, okay, we do provide one-on-one coaching outside of this framework. Yes, we do charge more for it, but we are on call. If you need help or advice, we're a call away. You simply go into the membership, fill in a form. We'll be in touch and help you with, whatever matter. Now, it's not formal coaching. There is a fair use policy, but we are coaches. We are on call to you as part of the membership as well. So go to igtmembership.com. We'd love to see you on board. All right, let's move on, Deniz. So we've done the marketing fee. Let's talk about professional photography fee. Why would we want to do that?
Professional photography fee, because we want to attract the best quality tenants that we possibly can.
Yep. 90% of a reason why a tenant clicks on one listing and ignores another, 90% is because of the visual attraction. You need to make your pictures look awesome. Now, you've not only got access to professional photographers, but now with Virtual Tours Creator with Tom, you've got enhanced photography so they can enhance your photos, turn your green lawn greener, or make the sky blue or whatever. He can even, Dennis, take messy rental property photos, because the tenant didn't want to get the property ready for your photos because they're moving out. They don't give a crap about you. He can clean it up digitally, empty the room even, and then also digitally stage it as well. I'm really excited about this. And of course, that leads on to the fee number 15. Actually, I'm going to do 16 first. I'm going to go back to 15, but the 16 fee is virtual tour marketing fee. Now, he also does virtual tours. If you show a prospective client that you do virtual tours, they're going to fall out of their chair. And you might think, well, I can rent a property without a virtual tour. It's not the point. If you're impressing that prospective owner that you do virtual tours, because he wants the best tenant with the best rent in the fastest possible time, and the virtual tour appeals right to that. And if your competitors aren't doing it because they think all they need to do is do boring photos, crappy photos, amateur photos on their iPhone, and that's good enough, you want to run to professional photos. You want to run to enhanced photos. You want to run to digital staging. You want to run to virtual tours because your competitors are not doing it. Now you can really stand out, win the business and your fees. So go to virtualtourscreator.com.au, talk to Tom there, have a look at his demos on there, and pimp up your photos so all of those quality tenants are clicking on your ads on your marketing portals and ignoring your competitors because they look boring. Now, Dennis, one more thing. Radhika from Sydney, who's one of our coaching clients, with her enhanced photos that she used, she was able to get $20 to $30 a week more in rent. Proven 100%. Because of enhanced photos that she was using and making sure that her photography was awesome and not boring.
Yeah, and she's also using VTC as well. I actually had her on a recording session, and she's got so much to give. And that girl is a startup business. She's independent. Not that it matters if you're independent or not, but a lot of people feel like when you're independent, that it's harder to grow, you're further behind. So I'm just highlighting that. And she's now working in 2 different cities. She's absolutely crushing it.
Yeah. All right. So last fee for this part 1 of the podcast, which is the video walkthrough marketing fee. So look, there are agents out there that are with their phones doing a video walkthrough. Now, if you want some good training around that, just go to virtuallyncredible.com. Todd Breen there has got some free training on how to do marketing videos with a walkthrough on your video. I guess, to me, I would probably prefer to do the virtual tour because it just looks better. But a video tour, there's a lot of agencies I've seen, Laura in Perth doing really good walkthrough videos as well, and a lot of other agents. But please don't just be satisfied with boring iPhone photos. Please, if you're finding it hard to stand out from your competitors, why would you want to do the same thing as them? You're just putting a rod on your back, because the law of price focus says if you don't provide a difference that the prospective client can see, now your fee comes into focus, everybody. You're wondering why owners only care about cheap fees, because you ain't looking any different from your competitors at the places that they care about, because they want best rent, best tenant, fastest possible time. So you've got to really get good at your marketing to show them you'll get best rent, best tenant, the fastest possible time. All right. So that's where you've got to do the work. Dennis, that was another amazing podcast show.
That was very good.
If I don't say so myself.
It was quite intense. There's a lot to take in for people. It's there. We've cracked the hour mark. So it's a good.
And that's just part 1. So everyone, again, get the book, stopdiscountingfees.com, and book into my diary, getbetterfees.com. If you want to chat to me, that will just put you straight into my diary. Book in, find a time that works, half an hour on Zoom. Look, if you book in people, please show up. I don't get some people that want and they don't show up, and just if you can't make it, just cancel or whatever. But we'd love to see you there, show you how you can get an extra $500 to $1,000 per property per year on new business, and of course how to do it very successfully with your current clients as well. It's something I've been doing for 20 years. Love to talk to you about it. Dennis, over to you. Let's wrap this up.
Mate, thanks very much for all of that insight, Darren. Certainly a lot of fees, and I do apologise that I added some anxiety to your life by adding another one.
I need to go and reprint my book.
Well, we're always talking about adding. I mean, I've already got the next book that I want to write from the first one. I've already saying, Darren, I'm going to do it 3-4 times bigger, like really go in a lot deeper on things, you know. But that's life. That's about evolvement. But you know, people can also reach out to us in our Facebook group as well, IGT Inner Circle. Just do a search for the IGT Inner Circle Facebook group. Please answer the questions. There is so much insights getting added into there. It's absolutely free to be part of. No selling, advertising. We don't allow sponsors in there promoting or anything like that. It's pure us. It's purely about other people that we're training or attending our events around the world that do come to it. So we've got people from the UK there. Michael's over in the UK at the moment. I'm heading over soon. New Zealand, America. I think there's 12 countries, even in the Philippines and Bali, you know, but
Dennis, I'll be the first to put up my hand to say that our group isn't as big as the others. Look, honestly, everybody, our teaching only appeals to the top 10%. That's why we got the top 10% Australia, New Zealand, United States, and so forth in our group. So if you resonate with what we've just taught you, you're part of the 10%. Come and be part of our community. We'd love to see you there.
Right.
And Dennis, just before we go, I just want to make a quick whisper out there, everyone. We're working on book number 3. And this time is going to be around about 20 rent roll growth experts doing a chapter each. Dennis, you've done the interviews. I know you're working on the book. I'm working on the cover in the next week. We're probably going to be releasing this in around about February for pre-release, pre-launch. I'm excited, but we're on track to do 1 book a year. And I don't know when we're going to stop. I don't think we'll stop at book 20 or book 30. We'll just keep on going.
Interesting. Do we add another chapter to the book on my session that I did at the conference? Just sit on that.
Possibly.
Right? Sit on that.
Possibly.
A very, very good chapter.
Be in book number 4, which I'm currently partway through writing at the moment too. So we'll just see how we go. Anyway, thanks everyone. We'll see you in part 2. That's only half the fees. Let's go and finish the other fees, Dennis, and fee packages in part 2 of this podcast. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.